go live.
Hey, now! What's that smell? Just like cornbread done too well. What you need, you know I got. The hands up, who wants to rock?
That is right, boys and girls. We are live, and welcome to the Metal Hammer of Doom. That's right, I'm not the usual voice that you're used to hearing on this podcast. Oh no, you couldn't be so lucky to get the mandated reporter, as well as father of two. That's right, he had Jonas. Woo! Yeah, that's right, he had the Jonas, and now he's officially on the Jonas Exodus. But no, I'm not Mark Radulich. He won't be back until... God, I hope he doesn't stay away too long. I don't know how I'm going to survive. But in the interim, I am his co-host, now main host, temporarily, Mr. Robert Cooper. That's right, 411 Mania Writer, Bearded Wonder, and guy who does way too many podcasts. And I have a special guest host. That's right. Unlike last time where Mark left me to run this thing by myself and my first show was solo because nobody wanted to join in, I had somebody that wanted to join in. And he is probably one of my favorite people on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. Like, you know, I mean, it's a pretty long list of cool people, but he's up there. He is a lover of good music, good reviewers, and shitty movies. Mr. Sean Comer, welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Sean.
This is kind of a treat for me because normally I know that usually when I'm doing a podcast, it's to talk either movie or comic book villains, it seems, lately. But the truth is even though that's sort of what I take my time out to podcast about every couple of weeks or so, sometimes more if Robert Winfrey happens to need a guest host. Actually, really, the true fandoms that fuel me are actually, well, like you said, music and, well, also gaming. But for the purpose of this podcast, we're just sticking with music. And this is kind of me a little bit out of my element because metal is not exactly my specialty. It's something that I dig, but I'm kind of, in an interesting twist, I'm kind of here to learn more than to really espouse actual knowledge.
Ooh. And see, that's interesting because you picked one of your favorite bands, Nightwish, but ironically, it is one of the bands that I don't know a damn thing about. So it's going to be like we're learning from each other.
Well, but the thing is, though, is I picked them because, yeah, they are one of the few metal bands where I can say I do absolutely really dig them. I mean, the other ones probably being Metallica and Iron Maiden, and I don't know, would you count System of a Down as metal?
Kinda, sorta. Like, they fall in that gray area of, well, some people think they're kind of new metal, but I think they're kind of heavy enough to constitute as regular metal, but it doesn't really matter to me because, I mean, they're solid enough. I'd talk about them.
Okay, well,
as long as we don't have
to
talk about Surge's solo work. Ugh.
Then I would throw them in there because I always kind of hesitate a little bit to throw a couple acts such as A Perfect Circle, Tool, and Deftones, all of which I'm a huge fan of, in with the metal category. I mean,
well, Tool kind of they kind of surf the weird line between a rock and a metal band, and I don't listen to enough of A Perfect Circle or Deftones to really judge them, because they're just not really anything I've been around. So I mean, they might. I know enough Tool to consider them metal enough. They're good enough.
I mean, my hope kind of is that by coming on here and talking about one of my favorite bands, that maybe I'll be able to pick up on some other bands that I might like, and go forward, pad out my collection, pad out my taste a little bit more, and hopefully put some people onto what is really just a really bombastic, huge-sounding band.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that sentiment, but when we start getting into things, they're an interesting band, because as I've noticed, I only listen to a lot of their, to pretty much their early to the mid work, but I listen to enough and know enough about the later work to, fill in the gaps of my knowledge. That they didn't quite start so huge, but they got to be just a powerful and operatic and very symphonic band, and you have made me a fan. I'll be repeating that by the end, I'm sure. But before, I was like one of those, like, oh, Nightwish, that's a band I always want to listen to. I'll get to them next when they have a new album, because that's usually what happens. Like Carcass last year. I'm like, oh, Carcass. I always wanted to listen to Carcass. New album comes out. I'm like, oh, my God. But yeah, hell, I guess why not go ahead and just start. Tell everybody your relationship with Nightwish. What brought you to them? Out of every band in the world, why'd you just pick Nightwish? What drove you to them?
Brace yourself. This is about to be probably the lamest story you ever hear for how somebody could ever get hooked on a band. But I have, this seems to happen to me with bands quite a bit, is I come across music that I end up becoming absolutely, utterly obsessed with through the oddest of means. In this case, I was actually watching a review on That Guy with the Glasses. It was an episode of Atop the Fourth Wall. I remember which one it was, actually. Linkara was talking about the Teen Titans story, Technus Imperative. I guess they were just the Titans, to be specific and not offend any of my fellow comic book fans. But at one point, to make a point about just how huge and sprawling and epic this one splash page was, he included this gag where he played the chorus of Over the Hills and Far Away over it. And I liked that one snippet so much that I actually stuck around through the credits and thought, okay, it's by Nightwish. I think I shall go find some more of this Nightwish. And sure enough, I couldn't just be bothered to just go find one Nightwish album. No, I had to have all of the Nightwish albums. So I ended up checking out the full discography and was just blown away, because when I do decide to sit down and listen to some metal, it has to be something with a real stress on musicality for me to get any long-term enjoyment out of it. I think that's why it's hard for me to get into thrash and death metal very much, or speed metal, because it sometimes doesn't, well, for obvious reasons, it doesn't feel all that structured. It's just kind of an oncoming barrage that I just kind of find myself just losing myself in. But on the other hand, I can listen to bands like Maiden, or kind of middle of their career to latter day, Metallica especially, and and the band we're talking about today, and just kind of be impressed by guys like Kirk Hammett and how much they're able to employ a lot of very smart music theory and a lot of very ambitious structure to a lot of their songs. So, yeah, it was kind of a given I was going to dig Nightwish.
Yeah. I mean, there's some. I can definitely give you some bands that are close to Nightwish that can totally be like, hey, look them up. Though, if we ever do a career retrospective on Metallica, I should totally convince Mark to let you on, so you can defend the latter half Metallica.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
Well, it's funny because when I say defend, I'm actually usually defender of latter half Metallica because I'm like, guys, it's just 2 half shitty albums. The other halves are really good. We just put them together.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is Metallica, they're also great metal storytellers, too. That's the other thing. The music itself being ambitious, yes, that's always going to really draw me in. But I also love bands that know how to write really good lyrics, too. And James Hetfield is, I think, sometimes even almost kind of an underrated storyteller with some songs. And when you kind of combine that with, like I said, Kurt being classically trained and very ambitious in terms of his playing and his composition, and I think they were really at their best musically when they had Jason Newsted behind them, because he's another guy who's exceptionally bright and is an excellent bassist and was kind of able to bring so much substance to the band's sound after Cliff Burton's tragic passing.
Yeah, like Newsted, he definitely gets shit on a lot because he had to follow Cliff, who I think they were best with Cliff, but that's what everybody says. But I mean, Jason Newsted did a damn good job, and you should totally look up his solo band, by the way. They're called Newsted. They're pretty cool. Like, they're just a fun, heavy metal time. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I was wondering what they'd been up to, because it had been so long since I'd heard anything from him.
Yeah, he left Metallica in like 2001, and I think now he's just now getting his solo band off the ground. He was in Voivod for a little while, did some stuff I think with for a few live shows, but yeah, his solo band's pretty good. He does bass and vocals, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll have to send you a link to them later. They're fun. It's just like, just kind of rocky. Yeah. I can dig them. But anyways, speaking of fun, Nightwish. Yeah. So the band itself, as I've explained, they were pretty awesome. They started in 1996. That was a long time ago for me. I love those jokes. Yeah, they started in 96 with Tuomas. Thomas? Is it Thomas? I think it's Thomas. I'm back with these Swedish names. But Holopainen, who was a awesome keyboardist, he was sitting around a campfire with some friends, and he's like, hey, I want to make some music. So he made like experimental acoustic stuff and played it around the campfires, and it was really cool. So then he got his friend Erno Emppu. His nickname is Emppu with 2 P's, I think. Oh, Jesus, fuck it. He got the guy who plays guitars for Nightwish to be in his band. They turn in to be vocals. And it's kind of funny because apparently she was not a fan of metal when she joined the band. It's one of those things that I think that happens to like a lot of people. They join bands not being a fan of the genre and just being like, okay, whatever. And then they ended up being stuck in the genre for a good 20 years, if not more. I mean, Tarja's still going. She had a new one come out last year. So I've not listened to it. I've heard it's good. But yeah, they started their band and did a nice demo, and they got the name Nightwish from apparently their first song together. Pretty cool. And then they had a debut album, which we'll be talking about here in a second, after they got Jukka Nevalainen. His name is Julius. We'll call him Julius. Let's just go by their nicknames. That's easier. Yeah, I'm looking at this here, and I'm like, damn. I cannot do some of these names very well. Yeah, his nicknames. Yeah, maybe that's the reason they have the nicknames. Yeah, Julius, they got him to play guitars. So they have 2 guitars. Awesome, because he was playing electric guitar. And they added in a lot of heavy metal elements to the band, because apparently, like, originally they were really acoustic and stuff and had a lot of atmosphere, and then they added some metal in there, which, when you really find that out, that makes the first album make a lot more sense. Because I'll be playing your song from it in a few, just so we can get the ball rolling on it. But I've heard a lot of people call this album Nightwish's Rock-a-Rolla, which, if anybody is a fan of Judas Priest, their first album is not like anything else they've done, because it was very, very bluesy. It didn't feel like that new wave of British heavy metal sound that Priest, are known for. Just like this album is not the Nightwish that we know and love. Not saying we don't love this Nightwish, it's just not that Nightwish.
So yeah. Before we get to that, maybe just kind of explain one thing, because when I first brought this up, I actually, and God, I apologize to all metal fans out there for what a jackass I'm about to sound like here. I kind of miscategorize them as Viking metal, and you corrected me. No, they're more power metal. Okay, what would the difference be between those two?
Okay, Viking metal is much more rooted in a lot more like the black metal, which is your, the corpse paint and Satan and blood and everything. But it's much more rooted in stuff like that. It's more about it's kind of heavy and fast, and it sings a lot about Vikings and shit. It's one of those, like, I kind of know it when I hear it, but power metal is usually your sweet, the high vocals, the epic passages, the sweeping solos, kind of like your Iron Maidens, your Nightwish, Epica, Sabaton, all those sorts of bands. Yeah, Viking metal is one of those more of the, usually it's only people who are only, like, really, big into the band, who love subgenres like me. I'm one of those people that can, like, oh yeah, they're in that genre. And people are like, no, it sounds just like regular metal to me. I'm like, shut up. It's progressive, technical, death black metal. It gets that bad some days. I'm like, well, it's got this and it's got that, but it's not enough to really classify it as one, so let's give it both. But it's got these 2 genres. Yeah, metal genres are fun, but Viking metal is typically not one that most people outside of the metal genre really kind of think about. Power metal is just, it's kind of like just regular heavy metal, but a little more epic. Like your Iron Maiden or Nightwish. Okay.
Yeah. That considering the taste that I just espoused a little bit ago, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah,
don't worry. I will make sure to get you a power metal starter kit. Yeah, well, that's actually one of the genres that I'm not as hugely into compared to thrash and death metal, which are my cups of tea. But I actually had a friend of mine, before we get to your pick from this album, he's like, hey, I really love black metal, which is weird because this kid is, like, geeky and skinny, and, like, last time I remember seeing him was, like, 4 years ago, and he was, like, a super big nerd. I can't say anything, I'm a nerd. But he's not one of the ones you would expect to be like, hey, man, I really love black metal, and I want to thank you for showing him to me. I'm like, oh, I was just trolling you, but you're welcome. So it was funny because it went from that to, like, I'm like, oh yeah, what bands do you like? And he told me, I'm like, well, what about these other bands? He goes, yeah, they're pretty good, but I tend to like the satanic stuff. I kind of call myself a Satanist now. I'm like, oh, that's lovely. Okay. I was like, oh, yeah, it was interesting because there's a lot of these subgenres. Like, I know a lot of the recent stuff because if anybody's ever read my column at the end of the year, I do a top 50. Oh, that's the main reason why it seems like every January I disappear until May, because I have a lot of school and that top 50 takes a lot out. But yeah, power metal is a really great genre. It's one of the easier to access genres because it has a lot of very accessible traits to it, as we'll see when we get to the later Nightwish albums, because some of that's just poppy. Oof.
It doesn't really play into the whole whole stereotype of the evil, goat's blood drinking, Satan worshipping, virgin sacrificing metalhead either.
Oh, well, see, the people who assume that are just dumbasses.
I agree.
Because, I mean, trust me, black metal is exactly that. Like, the stereotypical black metal band is a bunch of angry white kids from a very cold place in panda makeup, worshiping Satan and, like, trying to kill each other. There's your prototypical black metal band.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the thing is, speaking from some experience, is your average white bread non-metal fan hears metal, and yeah, the first thing they think of is instantly, oh, well, it must be a band like Deathlock.
I love Deathlock. Yeah, I can see it. I once had
that is their point of reference, is Metalocalypse.
Yeah, while Deathlock is awesome, and we've reviewed it on here, it's not exactly the best jumping on point in some aspects. Like, I remember once I was listening to, I forget what it was. I want to say it was Orphan Land, which are really, you would love Orphan Land, I think, because they got Middle Eastern folk music, and they have death metal in them, but it's a lot of, like, Middle Eastern folk, and that's awesome. But she looked at me, she goes, I don't want to hear your screamo. And when you say screamo to me, I have to stop the urge to kill. Because
damn goddamn fighting words.
Screamo. Oh, that's, like, it's one of those, like, I understand why it's said, because a lot of those bands, like, my favorite one to reference as screamo was Hawthorne Heights. Because I was in middle school when they were big, quote unquote. And they had the, like, you know, the really kind of emo image and did the metalcore screaming and had the sad and whiny songs. Like screamo. And then as I came into my own in metal, I realized, no, that's its own genre. Screamo makes you sound like a twat. Oh, hate it. And when somebody calls, like, death metal screamo, I look at them very, very just sternly, and I'm like, bad dog. Bad dog, bad dog. But yeah, it's a mess. But all right, let's go ahead and get into your pick from this album. It is called Beauty and the Beast. Ooh. there was that. What made you choose that track?
I think because of all the songs on that album, and really it's hard for me to just pick just a handful of Nightwish songs that I like. But what I like about that is, number one, it's very emblematic of everything that I really love most about the band. About how there's an intensity to it that somehow starts high with that urgency and then just keeps kind of building as the song goes on. It starts high and finds a way to go even higher. In addition to that, it's amazing how something that can be that symphonic, that sweeping, can manage to still be enjoyable in metal without really coming across as kind of pretentious. I absolutely love Tarja's voice. I like to think of her as being like Amy Lee, except not obnoxious.
God, Amy Lee pisses me off.
and the ability to actually write good songs.
She's annoying too, yes.
Yeah. And speaking of which, it's really got such great lyrics too. It is exactly what it sounds like. It is a metal retelling of Beauty and the Beast. How could you not want to listen to that?
Well, I can't think of any reason not to. Yeah, actually, after listening to, going through this album again, after trying to find a song for my pick, because I was actually listening to this during a child development test, because, nothing says I'm going to be an elementary school teacher like Nightwish. After listening through it again, I was like, when I compare this to what I know now, I'm like, something feels like it's missing. Like, this was still pretty good. I like this for what it was, because it was really, really different. Like, before, I kind of just assumed that everything was, your typical Nightwish. Like, the only Nightwish song I know really well is Amaranth off of Dark Passion Play. It's really the only one I knew that well. I was like, oh, okay. But after listening to this first album, I was like, okay, wow, they do a lot of different stuff, because this album is very, very, has a lot of folk elements to it, and a bit of a gothic atmosphere almost. Like, that's something that I really did not see coming, though it really makes sense when you read stuff on the background and musical styles here on, like, Wikipedia or Metal Archives, that they were looking, like, this originated with campfires and stuff. So it really makes sense that they would make something more of a Finnish folk metal with some acoustic and some atmospheric passages. And it really works. It's like a first album. It almost feels like them just getting a little bit of it out of their system before they get ready. And I really do appreciate that, and I dig that. But it does make it kind of an odd point in the whole discography.
Okay, how so?
Because it really, musically, it stands out so much. Like, after this album, they pretty much dropped the folk metal, and they scale back the acoustic sound and really bring in the heavy symphonic elements to a point to where once we get to right before Annette comes in with Once, then Dark Passion Play and Imaginarium, those are very, very heavy on the score, to a point where Imaginarium had a fucking album that was just the score released. Like, it's really odd looking at what they eventually, what they did after this album and then carried to what they are now compared to this. This feels like a mid-90s, like, first release, like, in terms of atmosphere and tone, because not everything is so well polished. It's a little rough. It's got a kind of a folky atmosphere to it, but it does make it unique in their discography, which is, again, like I said, I really do appreciate that, and I like it especially for that. It's just, like I said, it stands out when you compare it to everything else.
I think if you listen, you can kind of hear what would come later starting to maybe kind of... Oh, yeah.
Like, it's there.
Yeah, it was kind of starting to kind of gestate a little bit. but it wasn't quite there. It wasn't quite there yet. It's well, okay. A good example. On my little show, Long Road to Ruin, we always like to kind of throw some wrestling references in there because we're wrestling fans. We got to start writing about this stuff on a pop culture / wrestling website. It's kind of like if you go and watch something like an early Edge match, like from his early WWE days. You can kind of see a lot of what would be there later, but it just hadn't quite been perfected yet. It was still in the very early throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks stages.
I can see that. But what about AWA Hulk Hogan?
Okay, that's another good one. Although in that case, I don't know if we should use that one because everywhere else Hogan worked before he went to the WWF, it's actually kind of a night and day difference.
Yeah, I've seen some of his Japan matches. He works totally differently.
Yeah, it really is almost like he regressed. Or even better, if you compare WCW Stone Cold Steve Austin when he was a really great technical guy who could get in there and hang with the likes of William Regal and Ricky Steamboat for 20, 25 minutes and probably then go another 30 if he had to say post-neck surgery Austin, where everything was brawl, 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 kick, bam, stunner, go home.
Pretty much. Like, I could see that. Like, that'd be a pretty fair comparison. But yeah, though I will say one thing that I'm going to lighten up on as the albums get through. At first, I'm not gonna say I didn't like Tarja's vocals. I appreciated them. I wasn't like so enthralled by them. I think it's just because it's not my usual thing. Because she is really heavy on the opera this time, like really heavy. And I was like, okay, because I'd never heard Tarja before this. Said the only Nightwish song I knew had a net.
Yeah, it really, really takes some getting used to.
Yeah, after what, 4.5 albums of Tarja's operatic vocals, I can say I'm a huge fan of them now. But the first time I was listening to them, I'm like, I get it, I see what she's doing, but can she go a little lower maybe? And she actually does it on.
It's a little bit like listening to Serge Tankian's voice.
Serge.
Especially when he does some of the really quirky vocal stuff.
Like in what is it, BYOB? But he has some weird stuff in that song. That's the song that got me in the metal, by the way. Just saying.
Well, yeah. Every time he gets a little strange, it's a little odd the first time you hear a System of a Down song if you hear the wrong one at the wrong time, because probably kind of like what you were thinking when you heard Tarja. The hell is this crazy bastard on about? What is he doing? Shit ain't metal. I don't know what it is, but
yeah. I knew it was metal, but I was just like, okay, you can do opera. Good job. Good on you. Let's see you do something. Come on. Okay, go look. No, all right.
Well, and what's more, I don't hold your listening to this during a child development class against you because, come on, we live in a day and age when I have actually heard parents say that they will let their infant or their toddler listen to ICP.
Magnets. How the fuck do they work?
And they will say this proudly. Juggalo parents, why do you breed?
Because there's no laws against that, because eugenics aren't fun. The true story, before we get onto my pick and get going, because I know you wanted to go ahead and you wanted to go a little fast, and we're almost over a half hour into this. But Yeah, well, hey, we let our powers combine. But I actually have to teach a lesson on magnetism for a class, and I am so tempted to bring up Miracles by ICP. Fucking magnets, how do they work? And I'm like, fourth graders might be a little offended. Not to mention their parents, faculty, teacher, custodians, you know.
You watch. You will get the child of a juggalo in there.
No, I don't. There's one white kid in my class. I haven't seen many juggalos of color.
Yeah,
coin that term. Juggalos of color. And on that note, here's my pick for this. I think, if I remember correctly, my logic when picking it was, it's pretty fucking metal. Because some of the stuff is, this is sung here is, I picked Elven Path, and I felt like it's the closest to a traditional kind of power metal song with the, you know, kind of fast and gallopy, and I'm like, yeah, I love that. So, all right, here it is, my pick off of Angels Fall First. I never actually said what album this was. So it's Angels Fall First, and this song is called Elven Path. I'm pretty sure it is it the opening? Yeah, it's the opener, so here you go. Yeah, that was Elven Path, and that was a kick-ass opener. Like, I've noticed as I went through, just looking through what I picked a damn lot of openers, but I feel like they really do a good job of putting their best foot forward on a lot of these albums, and Elven Path was a damn good opener. It definitely got me excited.
And I can see where you're coming from about how that really sets a tone for how kind of folk influenced the album is and how folk influenced the band was at this point. In no small part because if you don't mind me cracking wise a little bit, the opener just makes me think of Spinal Tap and Stonehenge. No one knows who they were or what they were doing.
I don't mind you cracking wise. Have you listened to half my podcasts? I mean, hell.
Probably not as many as I should have listened to, but I've caught a few. But no, I mean this is a little more straightforward power metal. It's definitely got a few of those kind of orchestral string elements, but it's kind of used as just kind of tempering the the real guitar-driven drive of it, and also to kind of obviously kind of complement, as we said before, Tarja's at first kind of awkward-sounding operatic vocals, but when everything kind of comes together and you sort of have a second to take in the sort of juxtaposed styles that you're being hit with, all of a sudden it all just kind of becomes comfortable pretty quickly.
Yeah, like you kind of slip into the sound of the band, especially on this album, because I love me some folk metal, as myself and the old man Radulich have discussed many times. Folk metal is one of those genres that's really hard to hate. It's a lot of fun. But going from that, we get into the second album, Oceanborn, and here, reading the Wikipedia page as we're talking, it makes a lot of sense why this sounds like this. Because it was talking about how, for the second album here, called Oceanborn, their main composer, who is, Tuomas, I don't know, it's Tuomas. Black and make up your own. Tuomas! Yeah. But it says he was listening to a ton of Stradivarius before this. And Stradivarius are a power metal band that use a lot of like progressive and a lot of neoclassical, which is, I don't know if you've listened to much Yngwie Malmsteen.
A little bit.
But a lot of, yeah, that's what Yngwie does. He does a lot of, he's neoclassical incarnate.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Stradivarius. Oh, yeah. Because actually, I listened to Oceanborn this morning because I got up a little late and I realized, oh shit, I got to shave for my interview at 4. So I'm sitting there just trying to shave and I'm listening to this album. I'm like, fuck. Why didn't I put this on when I got up?
You know what? Also, I love how this has a cover from an animated movie on it too.
Does it? Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, from The Snowman.
Yes. Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Come on, metal bands, get on this while Frozen is still a big thing.
Do you want to build a snowman?
God, fuck no.
Okay, bye.
I don't know if that sounded so much like Metal Do You Want to Build a Snowman or Dr. Claus Says Do You Want to Build a Snowman?
I was almost thinking Goldar from the Power Rangers, but yes.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, too.
Yeah. I mean, I could do other metal voice. Like, hell, I can sing a little, but that's when I want to scare people, I either do that or the black metal one of like, do you want to build a snowman? I did that the other day on my historically black college, and everybody looked at me like it was like fucking invocated Satan. Like, what's up, guys?
God. You did that at an HVC?
Yeah, that's where I am. The only metalhead on campus, I think.
And we have continued the streak. Another Radulich and Broadcasting podcast in which we have invoked, do you want to build a snowman?
It doesn't have to be a snowman.
Somewhere Jesse Starcher's wife is just like waiting with a spiked bat for him to come out of the garage.
Yeah, somewhere she's waiting with a spiked bat. Somewhere Jason Teasley just came a little.
And he's dodging sandwiches.
and Winfrey is just shaking his head in disappointment.
I'm going to try and get him on in a few weeks. Because he's like, yeah, I like Sabaton. I'm like, oh boy, they have a new album coming out and I need a co-host.
and then somewhere Pat Mullen just be all like, I hate How I Met Your Mother.
Either that or he's like, this doesn't remind me anything of the 80s. For the record, I love all of you. I say it with love, but also you have to be looking at yourselves in the mirror right now going, yeah, he's right. Yeah. Oh, and another cool thing on this that I didn't notice is that they have Tapio Wilska from Fintroll on a few songs, and he does the the death growls and the harsh vocals on a few songs. including Devil in the Deep Dark Ocean and The Pharaoh Sails to Orion. So, yeah.
Yep, that makes sense because those are arguably some of the most metal-sounding songs on the whole album.
Yes, that they are. Like this album is probably, it's funny how they went from kind of the almost folk and slightly gothic sounding Angels Fall First to Oceanborn, which was like, fuck it, we're gonna play you some European power metal and your bitch ass is gonna like it. And that is what they did. Yeah, so I guess with no further ado, they had a Japanese bonus track for this album. Dude, the Japanese are so lucky when it comes to metal. Like, I know not many people come around, but they get so many cool bonus tracks and liner notes. Man. But yes, with no further ado, here is Sean's pick, which was going to be my pick, and then I'm like, damn it, Sean, you took a good one. So here is the, which track is this? The 7th track. It is a instrumental, and it is titled, Moon Dance. Nah, I had to cut it off halfway through. Don't want the FCC knocking down my door. That is, my mom doesn't lock me in again.
Oh, God. Did you say your mom just came knocking on the door?
No, I said I hope the FCC doesn't come knocking on my door.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, this time your mother will have help locking you in the laundry room.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I probably could have gotten out there. I'm like, you know what? I could sleep in here. I don't want to bug him. Whatever. My mom's like, you should have called. I'm like, that was good. Because I could actually sleep in here. It just wasn't that comfortable. That was probably the best ending to a podcast in history. I'm going to die in this laundry room. Hit music.
That was quite arguably one of the best things ever to happen to Facebook in history.
Just watching everybody, like, Mark's like, so what have you learned today? I'm like, that I probably don't need to podcast in the laundry room?
You can look at me for that because I was the one who went and fetched Mark to tell him about it.
It's funny because I know it came off that she did it on purpose, but she really didn't. She was pissed off. My stepdad said she was pissed because she thought I snuck out in the middle of the night. That's why I wasn't in my room. And then she's like, "Oh, the cars are here." And then she's like, "Could you be in the laundry room?" And then I tap on the glass, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And my stepdad's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm so sore." And she's like, she just busted out laughing. She goes, "How long have you been in there?" I'm like, "Since your ass locked me in." Well, it's like, in the house you do some things automatically. Like, in my house, that's locking the laundry room because we have a latch on it since our house isn't, well, now it's level, but it didn't used to be level, so the laundry room door would just open. So we have just like a little latch on it, and, when you close the door, you just automatically use your thumb and latch it. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, I didn't know how else to really start the conversation with Mark on Facebook, so I just told him, so Coop's mom locked him in the laundry room. He's still in there.
Yeah, I was in there till about 6 a.m. I mean, I slept for a good 5 hours of that. So at about 11:30, I'm like, I'm tired. Oh, fuck it, I'm gonna go to sleep. Because my aunt was the one. She's like, can you call somebody? You want me to come get you? I'm like, don't worry about it, Jesus. I'm just gonna go to sleep.
Dad, Robert Cooper won't come out of the closet.
No, I swear. Until I got a girlfriend, my parents were convinced I was gay. That's so funny.
Oh.
It was hilarious. I'm like, I know they don't say it, but I'm pretty sure they think it. And then I'm like, yeah, I got a girlfriend. And she's not a beard. I already have one beard. It's enough. Yeah. Boy.
So from there, get back to talking Finnish Power Metal somehow.
Yeah. Yes. So Power Metal. I do that on the gaming podcast I'm on. Like, if we get on a 15, 20-minute tangent that I probably started, it just gets silent for a second. I'm like, so video games. That's a thing. But yeah, this is the album that got me really excited to attempt my quest of listening to every one of these albums. Because I will admit, I did not finish all these albums all the way through because it was 7 albums, and holy shit, that's a lot of music. Especially when you get to these later albums when they're like an hour and 20 minutes. Like, are you fucking kidding me? This is almost getting to the point where if I wanted to burn a copy of it, I couldn't. Like, that's a problem. Like, on fucking Metallica's Load, that is almost 80 minutes of music. And some of that you don't need. I'm like, okay, guys, I understand that your jamming was pretty cool and all, but Outlaw Torn could have been 4 minutes shorter, and I know they cut it 6 minutes. Man. But yeah, this is definitely the album that got me excited. Like, I fucking love this album art cover. Like, it is so cool. Like, I don't quite know if it wins because my top 3 are Rust in Peace by Megadeth, because, come on, Rust in Peace. And then, so now, I can't remember the name of the album, but it's by I think it's Tarion. Hold on, I gotta look this up. The other one is Nightfall by Candlemass, which is awesome. It has a lake and like an angel coming down on it. It's fucking metal. But yeah, I'll report back with what album I'm fucking talking about in a second. Yeah, any final thoughts on this album before I play my song and we get to go into Wishmaster, not the movie?
Not much, except that this was the album where, and God, I'm not saying this to make fun of them or anything, they kind of start becoming a little bit Mannheim Steamroller sounding. So, it's a case where if you're one of those people who wishes that radio stations would play that famous cover of Deck the Halls all year long, or any of their other Christmas carols, this is probably the band for you.
Yes. And that was the band it was. The band is called Tarion, and the album is called Symphony Masses Ho Drakon Ho Megas. It has a winged dragon blowing smoke out of its nostrils with a red sky background with lightning behind it and the armies of the dead at a castle. Fucking metal.
Yeah, any more metal bands do not do subtle covers. You are not going to see any of this business like with the Beck album Sea Changes or a lot of other indie albums where it's just neck up, close up, just staring back at you.
Trying to think. Well, I mean, I'm sure there are some, but yeah, a lot of these, especially like power metal and death metal, have the best covers for different reasons. Because power metal is usually that real, like, you know, really fucking cheesy, and death metal is usually like really just kind of gruesome. And I just love them both because they're both really artistic in their own ways. Now, there's a certain point to the grotesqueness that gets obnoxious, and that's usually where all the deathcore bands go. Seriously.
Yeah.
If I can't, like, usually if you kind of overdo it and you have more than like 4 to 6 syllables plus in your name, you probably need to go away. Or 4 to 6 words in your name, like I Killed the Prom Queen, or even Asking Alexandria, or Suicide Silence, which, seriously, I think Mark is probably happy that the Mayhem Festival is not coming near his house, because while they have Body Count, they have Asking Alexandria and Suicide Silence and Korn and Avenged Sevenfold. God. Oh.
I Killed the Prom Queen. Did somebody actually name their band after a line from Jawbreaker?
I'm pretty sure. Let me make sure here. Killed the Prom Queen. Yeah, that's one.
This is the
yeah, that's
it's
a metalcore band.
A metalcore band that named itself after an all-girl driven early 2000, like late 90s black comedy starring Rose McGowan, Julie Benz, and a very young Denise Richards.
Sounds like a really hot lineup, actually. Yeah, I think that's what they're.
That was Rose and Denise, arguably at their hottest. Julie looked the way Julie usually looks. If you like bony, hey, more power to you. If you like bony and shrill, more power to you.
Oh God, it's like Fran Drescher without the curves.
Yeah, actually, that's a pretty damn good description. I rather enjoyed watching her have to slice through her own hand in Saw 5.
Best thing she's done in her whole career.
well, no, actually, Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Jawbreaker did that, but no, I did enjoy watching her slice through her own hand almost as much as I enjoyed watching her bleed out in a bathtub at the end of the 4th season of Dexter.
There you go. Dexter. Show I meant to watch, but my stepdad wouldn't shut up about it, so I didn't watch it.
All right. Anyway, yeah, so
metal.
Wishmaster. It's not just a bad Robert Englund horror movie.
Yes. Well, before we get there, I'll go ahead and play my pick, which is the from the last album, which is surprise, surprise, the opening, Stargazers, which is originally called the Aztecs, not the episode. Like, seriously, that opening was like Stradivarius. Oh, it just stunk of them.
And you see, I'm already learning about more new bands because obviously you reference a band called Stradivarius, and the first thing I think of is a violin.
Well, the first thing I think of is a trumpet, because that's also a brand of trumpet and a brand of violin, and there's various Stradivarius different versions of it.
But it's better known as being pretty much the Bentley, the Cadillac of all violins, though.
Yeah. That's, well, hell, maybe that's the brand. Because, yeah, it was actually the same for trumpets. Like, all the fucking kids who were good at the trumpet, right when they got to, like, the beginning of high school, got a Strat. All got a Strat. And me with my dinged-up trumpet that I once threw for fun. Oh, well.
I once threw for fun.
I once threw it, yeah. Like, I was like, oh, I wonder how far I could throw it, so I just threw it. I was like, yeah, instrument safety. Practice it. Yeah, I was a horrible, horrible child. But then after a few years, I switched to tuba, and I couldn't throw that anymore. I did chase kids with it, though. Until I ran out of breath, and I'm like, all right, you finish your lap yourself.
This song has, I think, got some of my favorite lyrics of any in the band's entire catalog. I mean, there's definitely a lot of flourish to them. I mean, a grand oasis in the vastness of gloom, child of dew-spangled cobweb, mother to the moon. It stretches a little bit into sounding almost nonsensical, but at the same time, when you pair it with that grand instrumentation in the background, you just kind of have to sit back and just go, fuck it, I'm in.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Yeah, like, Jesus, doesn't that sound like the fucking cheesy intro to, like, a game of D&D that your dungeon master wrote one day?
Either that or a Linkin Park song that even Chester Bennington went, oh, no, oh, God, no.
Oh, God.
Or maybe, since we referenced them earlier, on the other side of the coin, possibly the kind of song that Amy Lee wrote and went, I smell single.
Yeah. Though I don't know if she actually writes all of her music. Because I know that's actually something with Tarja. Like when she did her solo stuff was not nearly as good because Thomas, or the guy whose name I can't pronounce, he's the guy who writes all the music, I think, or all the lyrics and stuff. And because apparently that is a problem with Tarja's solo work, is that it's not nearly as well orchestrated, or the songs aren't as good. But I will guarantee you she's probably 10,000 times better than Amy Lee, who I liked for that one album.
Yeah, you don't listen to their lyrics exactly for relatability necessarily.
Yeah.
You listen to it just because it's kind of like for those of you out there who happen to watch the Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD.
Oh, God. I read.
My absolutely favorite bit in the whole thing was when Chris Jericho was at one point talking about Warriors promos. And because it crashed my shit off to pieces every time. But he would finish up with an interview, and you'd sit there and kind of go, I don't really know what he was saying, but it sounded cool, so yay!
I love Jericho.
That is by my own admission kind of what it's like to listen to Nightwish sometimes.
Yeah. Though after a while of listening to stuff, like I can't tell you everything of what like Cannibal Corpse is saying, but I can usually get you about 60% accuracy. And I've read some fan subs that are about that accurate, so it holds up. But yeah, I love Jericho.
The more I read this, the more this does start to sound like a Warrior promo.
Oh, God.
This ambrosial merry-go-round they will gaze. Ephemeral life touched by a billion years, shadow separating the poet from the woe. Oracle of the Delphinian domain, witness of Adam's frailty, seer of the master prophecy, Hulk Hogan, the stellar world her betrothed, wanderers in cosmic caravan, take the plane into a nosedive, universal bond of starborn.
That is so wonderful. God, that was a really good impersonation of him, too. That's great. The Chris Jericho, his new book's coming out this fall. Can't wait to read it 6 times because it's sitting outside my bathroom.
Yeah, speaking of wonderful people of metal.
Yeah, oh yeah. Dude, Fozzy, like, their last album was good. The best song was like 12 minutes long. It's called Storm the Breaches. If you only listen to one song by Fozzy, look up Storm the Breaches. It is awesome.
I like what I've heard of Fozzy, but I don't think I've ever actually listened to a whole album by him.
Yeah, if you're going to listen to a whole album, Chasing the Grail's probably your best, because there's some really well-written songs and some damn good solos. They get Jeff Waters from Annihilator. They get, I think they get Marty Friedman from Megadeth in there, if I'm not mistaken. But they get some damn good, damn, I can't type in the dark. Sorry. No. You ever tried to type in the dark and you were one letter off, so everything is one letter off?
These are my broadcast partners, folks.
Me trying to look up something in the dark. Oh, shit.
Okay, so I go from Mark the Pantsless Reporter.
Hey, I'm not wearing pants either.
Thanks for sharing. To Robert, the Pantsless Reporter who broadcasts from his laundry room.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, I have certain tropes of my podcasting. If you listen to a few episodes of The Three Beards when I was on there, usually it's Castlevania, I do other podcasts. Well, Hello Ashley was a running joke there. I'm not wearing pants, and now laundry room. I get a few... I've got some tropes at this point, considering I do like 4 podcasts some weeks. This week, nah. This week I'll be like 2. I already told Teasley I'm like Teasley. No.
This is why I was joking with my best friend the other day, telling her she's never listened to one of my podcasts, and I was trying to kind of describe it to her, and I was saying, look, we're not some super slick, well produced show. Okay, our podcasts are more like Wayne's World.
Fair enough.
Although I don't think I remember a time when Wayne or Garth got locked in their fucking parents' basement.
Or laundry room, for that matter.
Show was done. They left.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into Wishmaster, because I remember you said you wanted not to go over our runtime. We got 20 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm prepared for a little bit of an overrun, but I really probably shouldn't indulge myself too much.
Well, you're not the one you should worry about. Usually it's me, because I will keep going. I was talking to Sean Garmer the other day. I'm like, I was telling people that usually I do podcasts at like 2-hour minimums. They're like, are you kidding? I'm like, I mean, that's just a normalcy for me, because I just keep talking. Even on the gaming podcast I'm on, like, I don't play that many games, but I can bring up random bullshit and keep us going for like an hour. I claim that's the only reason I'm being brought on at this point. Like, yeah, we need to fill an hour. Hey, we got coup. So I'm going to go ahead and do this a little differently. I'm just going to go ahead and play your song from here, and then you can talk about it, and we can talk about the album, and then I can play my song, and we can go into the next album.
Sure.
Yeah, so here is the song off, or Sean's pick off of Wishmaster 5. Did they ever get to a 5, by the way?
No, there were only 4 Wishmaster movies.
Damn it. Oh, well, I've seen like Wishmaster 2, and that was like one of the first horror movies I ever saw. Yeah, I don't have a good track record of movies. But anyways, here is Dead Boy's Poem. Damn, that's dark.
Born from silence, silence full
Anyways, what made you choose Dead Boy's Poem?
Well, to be honest, and this is going to sound the lamest possible reason to pick it, it was because it's, of their latter-day work, it kind of sounds the least like a Nightwish song, in that this is about as subdued as they get. They don't necessarily do somber all that often. They don't really do a whole lot of down tempo. At least that's not what they're known for. But in this case, they kind of grind this one out. And again, while the lyrics are a little bit shaky, it still plays a lot like a requiem in a manner of speaking. And I may be choosing the wrong word there, but I mean, if you read the lyrics, there are a lot of tones in there about probably either physical or emotional abuse of some kind, and it's at least an attempt to handle it in a little bit more of an eloquent way than to kind of keep coming back to, because they're the best example of this, the way Linkin Park or Evanescence or Blink-182 or Dashboard Confessional would handle kind of the same subject matter. Those are the kind of bands that will take a topic and get really heavy-handed about it and think they're being very raw and powerful, but the truth is the lyrics read like bad junior high poetry.
We know we've all written some of that.
Yeah. So, however, given the choice, I would rather read lyrics by somebody who's maybe attempting to reach a little bit when writing something that's sad, but still kind of beautiful in its tone and in its imagery, I guess, for lack of a better word. So.
Yeah, I could dig it. I mean, I thought it was a really good song. I was just, I was listening through this stuff when I was getting a hold of it to put it here. I was like, that's an odd pick. Wonder why. Yeah, there's actually some really interesting stuff about this album. Like, for example, on my pick, which we'll be playing sooner or later, hopefully, the spoken part is done by Ike Ville, who is the what was he? He's the vocalist for the punk metal, I think it's death rock metal, that's what they tell me here on Wikipedia, called Babylon Whores. He's their vocalist. Funny thing, their former guitarist, whose name is Ewo, is now Nightwish's manager. So hey, things worked out. Because apparently before Ewo showed up, the band was going to break up because they weren't getting along and people were being assholes. Who'd thought? People being assholes.
Here's a little something interesting about this. There's actually a song on this album, The Kinslayer.
Yeah, that's the song I picked. I was getting to that, don't worry.
Sorry about that, I must have kind of blanked for a second. That's actually written about the victims of the Columbine High School massacre.
Yeah, it was. And I was going to be like, that's ironic. My happy ass picking that, considering one time I've made a few jokes in my day.
Which is interesting, considering that this is an album that's really loaded down with Lord of the Rings and Dragonlance imagery.
Yeah. Never. Wikipedia, I love you. Wow, I didn't know that. Phantasmic is a song about Disney animated movies.
Oh God! How did I miss that? I suddenly kind of wish I had picked that one.
Yeah, I did not realize that. Huh. That makes a lot of sense now. Oh shit! There is a whole fucking Wikipedia page for the Disney references.
Are you serious?
I am not fucking kidding. If you're on the Wikipedia page, just click on the Phantasmic on the track listing, and it'll bring you to the song. Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. Hang on.
Yeah. Well, hey, they mentioned Chernobog, who was the most metal thing Disney ever created.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah, I wasn't allowed to.
Black Cauldron is right up there.
Yeah. Well, then again, they did Chernobog in the 40s. It makes it even more metal.
Oh, there's a Mulan reference, a Lion King reference. Scrooge McDuck?
Yeah.
The Phoenix of White Agony Creek.
Do you know there's a whole metal album about Scrooge McDuck coming out in a few weeks?
Get the fuck out.
No, Mark has reserved it for when he comes back. It's like, that's one of the albums you can't do. I'm like, I didn't plan on it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't plan on it. But yeah, there's a whole metal album, because apparently Scrooge McDuck's like hyper popular in, I think, Sweden. Just super, super popular. So there's an album about that, and he wants to do the Steel Panther album that came out. And I'm like, Jesus, we are going to be full of fun when you get back here, Mark.
Hey, are you going to leave any metal for me to do while you're out?
Well, maybe. Yeah, I know, right? Because you're like, oh, Scrooge McDuck, I can do that. Mark's like, no, I wouldn't do it. I'm like, okay, calm down, Mark. Don't like beat me with a guitar.
I would so love to hear a metal cover of the DuckTales theme.
Oh, God, there's a metal cover of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme.
I see, but that makes sense, though.
That's true.
That kind of, okay, I can kind of see that. But I would love to hear somebody's metal garage band just get bored and decide to do an album full of Disney afternoon theme song covers.
Dude, if they did Gargoyles, they win the internets.
Okay, yeah, that would rock. That would just fucking rock on its own merit. I mean, let alone if you were to juxtapose that against a metal band's take on like the Tailspin theme, or Chippendale Rescue Rangers, or DuckTales, or Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
My mind goes to scary places sometimes.
I mean, hey, it's fine. I mean, you're not the one who in a class yesterday we're talking about. We're trying to collect 500 books for an elementary school we're doing a project with. And somebody else goes, oh, well, another group on campus is doing the same thing. And I just go, we'll have to kill them. And they'll look at me, they're like, oh, shit. I'm like, no, I'm kidding. And they're like, no, your face is pretty serious. I'm like, I mean, well, hey, a few Punjai steaks will be fine. I think I scared a few people. I mean, it's fine, you know. What's the worst that's going to happen? I get tased, don't get my degree. Ooh. Well, all right, let's go ahead and wrap up this album with the song about Columbine, which again was ironic because when I found out there's a Super Columbine RPG, I couldn't stop laughing for 10 minutes. Granted, I was in seventh grade, so it makes a little more sense, but still, I'm a bit of an asshole sometimes. All right, let's go ahead and get into the my pick off of Wishmaster 4. The Kinslayer. Okay, had to cut that off. But yeah, that is song doesn't really scream Columbine, but then again, a song does not necessarily have to sound like something to do a song about something. I mean, let's go a good song.
I kind of don't know which way is up anymore.
Why is this?
Because that does not sound like a song that should be dedicated to the people who survived. That sounds more like something that Harrison Claybold might have listened to while they were shooting.
Jesus. Well, I mean, hey, that could be a thing. Let's see.
That's a little bit tonally dissonant.
Oh, okay. Well, these are oddly serious lyrics. For whom the gun tolls, for whom the prey weeps, bow before war, call it religion. Yes.
And yet it's just kind of trucking right along there.
Well, I mean, hey, I guess you can give them some credit for writing something about something serious. It's not a fucking ballad. Ugh.
Yeah, but
ballads.
I'm not sure that was the right subject matter for that experiment, though.
That's true. It is a bit odd. But yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, it doesn't quite fit. Like, it probably should have. Maybe they should have made it ballady, or maybe.
Let me be clear here for anybody who's offended by what I just said. The lyrics are actually really good. They're actually perfectly apropos. I can totally see how that's an ode to the victims of the Columbine massacre. But as far as the instrumentation behind it, it's like the song. It's like a song performed on an episode of Barney and Friends about date rape.
It can be done.
It can be, but kind of like with doing a real sped up backing to those lyrics, I'm not so sure it should.
True. I mean, yeah, it is, like I said, it's a weird fit. I don't know if it's exactly the right fit. But I mean, I guess you can give them credit for trying. At least the lyrics are good. It's not like some shitty thing like like you find in your pop song. Oh, and one final piece of trivia that kind of pissed me off. The song Come Cover Me has been sampled in Little B's GOR 15-minute track. Oh. It still doesn't it doesn't annoy me as when I found out Iron Maiden's The Klansman, which is my favorite Iron Maiden song, was sampled for Brandy's song I Tried.
Yeah, that to me is about as annoying as the fact that Lil Wayne actually sampled the song Compass by Jamie Liddell, which, I mean, that's instantly familiar to anybody out there who's ever played Red Dead Redemption.
Or as I like to call it, Poker Simulator 2009. That is literally all. That's the reason I've never beaten the game, because everything I do is I play poker for 3 hours.
Okay, I can see where you're coming from, but keep the word soft and sweet. That's one of my sacred cows you're getting ready to spit roast there.
Oh, no, I'm not talking shit about it. I'm just saying I've never finished it because the poker's so much fun.
I kid.
Don't worry, I'm hoping to start Mass Effect this summer. I've had it for almost a year. I got 1 and 2. I could get 3 for $10 from Walmart.
Which is just sad because 3 is not that bad a game.
I think it dropped in price because the trilogy came out.
Yeah, that's probably more likely. But anyway, in any case, we are only about halfway through Nightwish's discography.
Yeah, and we're 2 minutes from the overrun. But I'll probably tell you, like, those last 2 albums, I'm just going to defer to you on them since I only listened to, like, half. I mean, I have complaints, but, not as in-depth as my comments on some of these albums, because, I actually listened to most of these. I didn't listen to the later ones, because I was like, Ned Olsen, you're a pretty good vocalist, but she kind of gets buried.
Well, then why don't we just stick with doing just Century Child at once?
Okay.
Since you and I are both far more fond of Tarja anyway, so.
Yeah, we could just mention the last two, like towards the end, since we did say it is a retrospective.
Yeah, they're things. They happened. They have songs.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll get to that soon. But, yeah, Century Child, I listened to a lot of that when I was doing chores today. And just as Wikipedia says, it was a lot slower and a little darker, which was fine by me. Like, I actually enjoyed the slower sound to it. Like, it's always interesting to hear how a band sounds when they slow down. Like, how do they handle it? How does everything, how does everything go down? Do they get boring? Like, how do they handle it? Because there's certain ways of handling being slowed down. Some bands just get heavier. Other bands switch styles. It's pretty interesting. But I think this album definitely, it did pull it off really well.
Yeah, I kind of have nothing to add to that.
Oh, really? Damn.
Well, yeah, I kind of agree with that entirely. So.
Oh, okay. Well, the reason I was talking instead of playing the song, because we're literally 10 seconds from the overrun. So if you're listening live, hi Jason, hi Jesse, hi Nathan. He's a little metalhead guy. Make sure you check out the overrun after the show. Yeah, good. There we go. All right. So let me go ahead and I'll play your song off Century Child first, because it was fucking metal. And I was like, why did I pick this song?
I thought you'd like that one.
Yes, it is titled Slaying the Dreamer. Or as I like to call it, the song about Tommy Dreamer's hairline.
Let her rip.
Ah, yes. Are they sipping Zakk Wylde's Kool-Aid there? With all those, all the pinch harmonics going off?
I thought that. I was trying to figure out who that was kind of reminding me of. The first time I listened to it and kind of thought, this sounds like something it sounds oddly familiar. Who does this sound like? Oh, yeah, Zakk Wylde. Okay. But no, I mean, that's what you pointed out was kind of the reason why I picked it, was because I had been picking all these really elaborate, ambitious arrangements, and I thought, I need to pick something that sounds a little more metal.
Yeah, and it was a good pick, and as I'll probably get into on a few of these tracks, because, we are probably still going to talk about those last two, but just more in, instead of a discussion, just more like, what do you like or what do you hate? Sometimes when you get heavier, that does not automatically mean you get better. Slaying the Dreamer, that was awesome. But there's a song on, I want to say, what was the name of that album? Dark Passion Play. I was like, oh, okay, this is the song I'll pick. And then after listening to like a minute of them, I'm like, this is boring.
Yeah.
If you're just heavy, like there's a difference between like if you're a thrash or a death metal band and that's your thing and you're being heavy, but if you're like Nightwish trying to go a little heavier and you just kind of drone on with really bad yells. God, those were bad yells. Yeah, it can be a problem. But I mean, Slaying the Dreamer was a really awesome song. And, I think it did kind of show like more of the direction they went in on some of these slower songs. They got heavier. Because, like when you look at 90s or 80s thrash metal as it moved into the 90s, you had bands like Metallica and Megadeth went to a more commercial hard rock style. You had Anthrax went into a more of a punk crossover style. But then you had Testament, who went like borderline death metal. There are really interesting ways you can go when you want to kind of change your sound, maybe slow down a little. But yeah, that was a really cool song. I could dig it. Now, what song did I pick? Oh, I picked the opener. Who'd have thought? Yeah, I mean, so far 4 albums in, and Kinslayer was at track 2, so I didn't pick the opener for that. But I mean, Bless the Child is an awesome fucking song, and that's what I'm gonna play, because fucking awesome. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah. Yeah, there was that. First time I heard it, I was like, Tarja can actually go down. Yeah, I love how that was my reaction. Because, yeah, that was really the show. That was really a good sample of what this album was. Like, the vocals were a little lower at times. The tuning was way down. But I feel like it made for another, not necessarily unique, like, how the first album was, but it was a little different. Like, you could slowly see how the band's coming to be how they are now. Like, those early albums turned into almost like a progressive, almost like a neoclassical and sometimes progressive power metal, and then more symphonic elements started showing up until now, to where we're starting to get to where things get heavier and cleaner, and then we'll get to where we get these last albums where they might have overdid it a little. But yeah. So So here comes next the Tarja's swan song with the band. Once, poor Tarja, she got fired by open letter.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I really didn't. This is honestly a band where I hadn't dug that much into their background. I just kind of just enjoyed them for what they were. But wow, open letter. Somewhere Slash is just kind of going, I take it back. Now that sucks.
Yeah, the letter apparently said that their justification for getting rid of her was that her and her husband, who is an Argentine businessman, and their commercial interests had changed her attitudes towards the band. It's like, okay. Apparently she says that's kind of cruel. Yeah. I mean, I was like, fuck, because I knew she got, I know she gotten fired because, hell, I followed the, in my column, I'd followed their last singer, Annette Olsen, getting booted from the band. But then again, I can kind of see why they booted her. But with this, I was like, fuck, open letter? That's not cool.
So basically that was a socio-economic bros before hoes?
Almost. Yeah, that's almost what it sounded like. Since you two started doing stuff outside the band, and you're really just kind of looking at the band differently, and we don't like that. And it's funny because she's a founding member, and she got booted via letter for the world to see, which is that's actually the main thing I have the problem with. Not that she got fired, is that they didn't tell her. They fired her and then put the letter online. It was like, here guys, here you go, you can see this. Look, haha, we fired her. Ding dong, the witch is dead.
There's the ultimate in what just happened here.
Yeah. It's a bit odd, and especially the funny thing is it took they had almost a 1.5 long break after that because they couldn't find a singer, or they could, but they didn't. But yeah, it's kind of stinks because she's a great singer, and and her presence is sorely missed. That is for sure. But that brings us into the album Once, which was pretty fucking awesome when I was listening to it before we started the show. Though I did have one major bitching point. The second song practically had a techno beat in it. I was not happy. I was like, this is, like, I was sitting there tapping my feet to it. I'm like, this is kind of catchy. And then I'm like, ooh, pop music. Yeah, I've come to realize that is my reaction to any, like, most forms of pop music and metal. I'm like, hair metal, don't like it that much. Metalcore, don't like it that much. So here, they're lucky because I liked it, and that I didn't realize it until halfway through the song, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? Yeah, it was I think it was "Wish I Had an Angel" was the song,
which is also good.
Which is also what?
So I said, which is also good. I kind of like that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fine song. It's just it didn't hit me till halfway through it when I was tapping my toes. I'm not supposed to be doing this. I mean, then the song afterwards, Nemo, was awesome. Like, that was just a sweet and awesome ballad. I like ballads when they're done right. Not when it's every rose has its thorn.
Yeah, in metal you kind of have to have a certain touch with it. Otherwise, yeah, you do end up just becoming Motley Crue or Poison.
Poison. Like, I like Motley Crue. I remember once I saw them on VH1 Classic. I'm like, they look stupid, but man, they can rock. Like, I didn't know who they were just by looking at them. And I was like, oh, okay, because I didn't recognize them as they were then. I only recognized them as they are now. Poor sick Mick Mars, Nikki Sixx, the plastic surgeon, the plastic dummy formerly known as Vince Neil, and Tommy Lee's penis.
Does Motley Crue get quoted in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? I think not.
Exactly. But yeah, let me go ahead and play your song off this, and then I'll make my other statement about this album. Yeah. Okay. So here is Sean's pick off of Once. It is called Romanticide. I had to cut it off there, but I didn't notice just how kind of typical that song structure was there. I was like, I think I've heard that before. It's just another like kind of showing how the band's. Or I guess this is actually just kind of an odd point in the band because they said after this we're going into straight up fucking symphony shit. But yeah, I mean that was a cool song. It was plenty heavy. It was even heavier than how Century Child was. Which, hey, that's a positive because they managed to keep it together. Though I will say that does lead to it's not a complaint, it's a nitpick. Because it's not really anything wrong with the album. It's just something that I kind of noticed. Like, this album is clean. Like, almost too clean for me. Like, there's a certain point where everything kind of feels like the backgrounds of the Star Wars prequels. Where everything's just so sterile and clean. It almost bugs me.
Yeah, I mean, that, quite frankly, with the choral elements and everything, that sounds like it should be the soundtrack to every Final Fantasy boss fight ever.
Yes. Though I do love the choral stuff, because if you've listened to any Blind Guardian, they do that so much. Like, especially Nightfall and Middle-earth, which is a Blind Guardian making the Silmarillion interesting. That's right. That they managed to make the book readable without you having to read it. But they do a lot of like vocal overlaying to where it makes pretty much the singer, they just overlay his voice a lot, and it makes an entire fucking like chorus singing behind him. It's pretty cool.
I mean, I'll say this, up to this point, if it were a case where the other members of Nightwish had said that Tarja's marriage had affected her to the point where it was actually affecting the band's music, I could kind of maybe see the point of wanting to distance themselves from her. But in this case, this was arguably the best album they'd made to date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, I think I read that she was like, they didn't say anything to me about it before. You know, I didn't know it was coming. They just, one of the guys, let me see which one, because one of them wrote it and the other three kind of signed it. Yeah, it was, let's see, who, yeah, it was written by Tuomas, whatever his face is. Yeah, he's the one who wrote it, and everybody else signed it. And I'm just like, okay, that's, I mean, I guess that's just how the cookie crumbles, and that's bullshit, but I guess if you want to look at it one way, you could look at it with, you know, some bands like Dave Mustaine and Metallica, or when Bruce Dickinson left Iron Maiden. Now we get two awesome bands, right? I mean, you can kind of look at it like that. It's not like Nightwish is making music that's just like total shit. It's just, it's in some aspects a little indulgent.
Yeah.
But yeah. We'll go ahead and skip my pick because we got about 40 minutes left in the overrun, and I do want to get these last two albums at least in some, just so we can kind of talk about our thoughts on them before hitting the plugs and hitting the road.
Yeah, we can, but I mean, I'm going to come right out and say it. I really just don't have all that much to say about them. Of their entire discography, they're actually the two albums that I've probably listened to the least.
Yeah, me too, considering I've only listened to 5 of the 7 albums. Like, yeah, I listened to a few songs off Dark Passion Play, and, like, the first track off it was really good, but it was really long. Like, it was 13 minutes, and while it did a lot of interesting things, like, the next few tracks afterwards were okay. I mean, it's one of those, like, I'm not that big of a fan of Annette Olsen, their second singer. Her voice, like, she had a really good voice, but do you think it was kind of weak almost? Like, it didn't have that power that Tarja's did.
It definitely watered the sound down a little bit, right along with like you said, just everything trying to go heavier. It's like what happens when a lot of things try to do. Some things try to go heavier, try to go darker, because they think that in general is the way to make anything appealing. And you have to kind of pick and choose with that. And in this case, there really wasn't a need to be any more heavy or dramatic than they already were. So it ended up really just, it made them really kind of boring.
Yeah, like listening to Once and then listening to Dark Passion Play, like, I felt like they invited the symphony in the room and didn't tell everybody. Because there are some points, like even the guitars sound drowned out by all the rest of the instruments around them. And they're like, damn. And especially Annette, she gets buried in it because her voice is not, like I said, it doesn't have nearly as much power. She's more of a typical rock and pop singer. You know, she's just she's a little more typical, which is no offense. Just, I'm just saying, that's kind of how it rolls. But yeah, she gets kind of lost in the shuffle, and I think we've started going into concept albums. Like, I don't know what Dark Passion Plays was, but I know Imaginarum. That was around some crazy circus and all that stuff. And while it seemed like it's interesting, and I probably do want to listen to the whole thing through, because concept albums, when done right, can be absolutely amazing. Like, 2 of my favorite albums are concept albums. Mabul by Orphan Land is about the 3 prophets of God, which are, 3 prophets of God which represent Islam, Judaism, and Christianity being split up and then trying to unify through the flood of Noah. It's really interesting. Orphan Land are awesome. And then the other one's Fearless Undead Machines by Deceased, which tells the story of fucking zombies. Awesome.
Yeah, like, but the thing about concept albums is the fact that you can have a good concept, but for it to really come off well, it's in many ways kind of all or nothing. You really have to have the concept that's kind of relayed through well-written songs that are well executed. That's the difference between having something like, say, a Pink Floyd album versus Kiss's Music from the Elder.
I forgot that album existed.
or Human After All by Daft Punk.
I didn't even know that album did exist.
Oh, it exists. It exists. This is one that I wrote about during my time on 411 Mania. I believe it was the producer of the album admitted later on that the only reason he went along with he went along with the whole approach to it was because he was coked out of his mind.
Well, hey, I mean, some good decisions have been made when people are coked out of their minds. Just look at the 70s.
Some have, but have you ever heard music from the Elder?
No, I keep wanting to go listen to that new Daft Punk album because it seems really cool, but no, I've only listened to like two Daft Punk songs.
Well, no, I mean, that's, you're getting them mixed up. Human After All was the Daft Punk album.
Yeah.
Music from the Elder was the abjectly horrible 90s video album.
Oh, I forgot about that's the Kiss album. Okay. I forgot the Kiss album existed. After
which, that was the first time Ace Frehley said, "Fuck this shit."
Yeah. Poor Ace. Poor Ace. He's so cool. And Peter Criss is not a bad guy. I mean, Vinnie Vincent, we can keep him away. If you've read about what Vinnie Vincent got arrested for a few years ago, you'd probably want to shoot him too.
No, I didn't. What did he get popped for?
Oh, let me look this up here. Vinnie Vincent. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, I think it was Dead Dogs. Was it Dead Dogs? Something about Dead Dogs. No?
Something about Dead Dogs.
Something about Dead Dogs. I'm just trying to find it here. Hold on. Let's see. Let me Google this here. Arrested. I think it was Vinnie Vincent. Yeah, on suspicion of assaulting his wife. Yeah. It's fun. Hold on. Damn it, Daily Mail. Yeah, great casting material as we're starting to wrap up here. But these last two albums, I didn't give much of a chance to them. I'll admit that because I was on time constraints and like, George, so cool. But I feel like their singer that they have now, who is Floor Jansen of the band Revamp, is pretty damn cool. Like, I've heard some of her stuff, and she sounds great. Yeah, she sounds absolutely great, and it's really, okay. Yeah, I'll get to Vinnie Vincent in a second. But, yeah, she sounds really great, and it's really good for them to have somebody that can at least cover Tarja's material. Because I feel like Annette Olson had the same problem that Blaze Bayley had in Iron Maiden, though admittedly I like Blaze Bayley a lot more, that when it came to the live stuff, she couldn't cover Tarja's stuff well enough for it to be accepted by a lot of the more hardcore fans. Because that happened with Blaze Bayley, too. Well, another thing that happened with him is that he couldn't tour very much just because he was allergic to some sort of stuff they used for the fireworks. So he kept getting sick. Yeah, he kept getting sick. Poor Blaze Bayley. He was awesome. So, admittedly, late 90s Iron Maiden, not the best. Still better than early 90s Iron Maiden. Arguably. But yeah.
While you were reading up on Vinnie Vincent, I was reading the Wikipedia page for Music from the Elder. When Kiss premiered Music from the Elder for their management and record company in October 1981, the reaction was a mixture of confusion and resentment. those are things you want associated with your album. I am confused and angry.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, hey, that was everybody who bought the album too, right? Hi-yo.
I used to think you were cool, Kiss.
You're for this shit.
Yeah. But it also goes on to say that business manager Howard Marks refused to allow his company's name to appear in the liner notes. Let's see. The producer Bob Ezrin, despite his recent success with even more ambitious Wall album, admitted that his judgments concerning Music from the Elder were clouded due in large part to a cocaine addiction at the time. Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons admit that they were delusional concerning the project, while Frehley has stated that he felt that it wasn't a good idea to begin with. There are rumors that the Elder has sold around 500,000 copies. However, this has yet to be substantiated by an official audit, which is probably why it has not been certified gold as of 2014. It sold so badly they didn't even keep track.
God. They kept track of Eddie Murphy's discography. He just wanted to party all the time. But yeah, Vinnie Vincent, what I was thinking of here was he got arrested for beating his wife and throwing her to the ground 4 times on the broken glass. Though apparently she was drunk as hell. Yeah, she was drunk. But the thing about the dead dogs is the report also states that when deputies visited Vincent at his home, they found 4 sealed containers with dead dogs inside. When Pa's Animal Service asked Cusano, which is him, I think his girlfriend, about the dead animals, she said that they had been killed by one of their aggressive dogs. Yep.
Then why were you holding on to them?
I do not know. Ritual animal sacrifice? I don't know.
Man crazy has no plan.
Yes. Oh, Nash. I need to start watching RDA live again. I stopped doing it because the stream just kept locking up on me and I gave up.
I really wish I'd watched it last night because I really wanted to see if he covered the U.S. Airways story.
Oh, is that the one? Which one was that one about?
Okay, for those of you out there who somehow managed to not read about this yesterday,
I didn't.
Somebody from U.S. Airways had one job to do: keep the porn off the U.S. Airways Twitter. Then, a woman named Elle apparently contacted the airline with a complaint. In turn, she was responded to on the Twitter account with, and I'm not making this up here, directions to follow a link to go submit her complaint. The link was to a picture of a naked woman sprawled out on her back with a Model 777 U.S. Airways jet stuck in her cooch.
So, you could say they went down the wrong runway.
The plane went down in the canyon.
Yeah, just missed the runway, hit the canyon. Oops.
Yeah, we're still searching for the black box.
Oh, it's in her box.
Yes. And I might add, this picture remained up on the account for a full hour, which in Twitter time is like the entire run of NCIS.
Ew. I'm sure it got just as old.
In Twitter time, that's a long time.
Yes, it is. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and play the song Amaranth from Dark Passion Play, just so the listeners who don't know what Nightwish is and don't know the difference between what we have been playing and what we've been talking about, they kind of know what's up. So here is Amaranth, which was going to be my pick, but Sean picked it, so I was like, let me pick something else. But this is both of our picks. that was Amaranth. That's actually, I think, probably the best song I've heard off of the two albums. Like, I think the next one would probably be, which was my pick from Imaginarium, Last Ride of the Day, which is apparently what they play to close all their concerts now, which is, not too bad. I mean, pretty good pick. But I feel like that was probably one of Annette Olsen's best showcases vocally, and like it's a pretty good song. It just really, I guess, you always kind of wonder, like, how would this sound if Tarja was here? Because, like, yeah, her vocals just had, so much punch to them. And they really did bring something special. And unfortunately, that they were missing that with Annette Olsen. But she got booted out because, what exactly did happen with all that? Trying to remember how everything went. I remember she wanted time off. Or she was sick. Yeah, she was sick. And they decided to go on without her. They used... let's see, one of the backing singers for Camelot for one of their shows. And then they used the current singer of Arch Enemy, who used to sing for the Agonist. Yeah, they used them to, both of them to cover Annette's part. And Annette was very angry. She said it was not a good decision they made. And I'm sorry for those of you who came to see the whole band but got someone else. I was very ill and this decision wasn't mine. Yeah, so apparently she was still sick, so they picked their now current singer, Flora Jansen, to sing for the remainder of the tour. And then Annette Olsen's like, I'm pregnant, guys. And she claims that's why they fired her, because she was pregnant. But they're like, no, that ain't true. Apparently she had agreed to help them find a replacement while she was on maternity leave, and she has since gone and said, that is untrue. And did not like the idea of somebody else, especially their current singer, Flora Jansen, joining the band while she was on maternity leave because they have different vocal styles. Sounds like a whole bunch of bitching to me. I don't know about you.
And in my opinion, from what I've heard of Flora, and that's admittedly not all that much, she's somewhere between Tarja and Annette.
Yeah.
For me, preference-wise. She's a little more of an approximation of the power behind Tarja's voice and how well she projects.
Yes.
But still not quite. But still, it's still an improvement over Annette, who's not bad, but it's still just, and this is just one reason I can say this, the songs just don't sound like Nightwish.
Yeah, they feel very, I don't want to say generic, because that's not nice. That's not fair. Yeah, because Tarja really is one of those talents. Like, she's classically trained. She knows what she's doing, and she knows how to utilize her talents, or she eventually did, as we saw on some of those later albums, where she could do a little more than just opera, 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 opera. God,
so,
Tarja.
Moral of the story, kids, when somebody knows what the fuck they're doing, you sit the fuck down, you shut the fuck up, and you let them fucking do it.
Yeah, you let them do what they need to do. Or other moral of the story is make sure you get an okay singer when you start the band. So, when you get that new singer that's really, really good, you're going to look better instead of when you get a singer that's just not the same, and then everybody's like, oh, it sucks. Because like I said, Annette Olsen's a good singer. It's just she's following a pretty big act, and I think it doesn't help that the band decided to go in a much more operatic. Like, their direction was so operatic and kind of over the top that they released a fucking score for a main album was the score version of Imaginarium, because apparently there's going to be a film based off of it.
Oh no, guys, don't do this. This never goes well.
Oh, not only that, it was released in 2012. Reception, let's see. Yeah, see, I actually did not know that it was they had a movie, but apparently it is, it's good. I'm assuming it's like a concert movie, but yeah, they released an entire thematic score version of it, and it's been released on Blu-ray in Germany.
This is why I don't like concept albums. Because the bands never know when to fucking stop with the concept.
Yep. So I'm happy.
It's the equivalent. It's the equivalent to, oh, I'm sorry that my favorite show is ending. I can has movie.
Yes, you can
no,
has cheeseburger.
It's not. Not everything translates well to a movie, Pumpkin. I want a movie.
Wow. Especially box office wise. $3.7 million budget.
I want a fucking movie. Okay, fine. If we give you a 24 web series, will you shut the fuck up?
I'm Solid Snake now.
Don't get me started on that.
See, that's the series that I want a PS3 for, just so I can start Metal Gear Solid 4 and then go play all the other ones and then watch
I got the Metal Gear Solid. I got the Metal Gear Legacy collection as a gift last year. I absolutely love the Metal Gear series. So having something like 6 or 7 games in one set, spanning almost every console generation, is just heaven on earth to me. However, I got to admit, I still have to go back and play Metal Gear Revengeance, because I got super busy and didn't get around to it when it was new, and now I'm trying to play catch up before I get my my PS4 in the fall. I'm not so sure I want to bother with the Metal Gear Rising games, though.
I've heard they're different.
I've heard they're very polarizing, both in terms of gameplay and in the fact that they are shockingly short.
Oh, you. Well, I mean, hey, if you condensed all the combat in Metal Gear Solid 4 down, it'd be pretty short too. Took out all those cutscenes. I've never played the game. It's just a great joke.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a big reason I'm convinced why Metal Gear Solid takes two PS1 discs, because of the cutscenes.
Yeah, unlike with Final Fantasy VII, which is like, fuck it, 3 discs. And then we get to Final Fantasy, 9? They're like, fuck it, 4.
Yeah, but the thing was, in those cases, that was okay. 2 discs for a great stealth game. Well done. 3 discs for a great RPG game. Well done. 4 discs for Final Fantasy 9?
I've heard that game was actually pretty good.
It was okay, but it's the fact that the high watermark for the series after Final Fantasy VII was arguably, depending on who you ask, either Final Fantasy X, or Final Fantasy IX.
I mean, yeah, I've been wanting to get into the series, but right now, I've got Chrono Trigger I'm working on, and I'm going to go play more Castlevania, because I'm going to get my copy of Symphony of the Night back, and I'm going to play that for 2 weeks, because I fucking adore that game.
Well, I mean, seeing as how tomorrow is my 2-year anniversary of when I arrived in Arizona, this coming weekend I'm actually taking one of my rare days off, and I think once I've good and thoroughly marathon Batman the Animated Series after I get tattooed, I think it's time to start the annual Mass Effect playthrough.
Yeah. Don't forget about watching Garo.
What did you say?
Don't forget about watching Garo.
Oh yes. Thank you. I had to think about that for a second. Yes, that's right. I need to watch me some Garo.
Yeah.
I need to
it's only 25.
Sentai. I need to give them my Sentai so that I can go on a podcast and you can basically listen to me react to watching actual genuine Japanese Sentai.
Yeah, well, it's a little weird. It's almost like it's hell. Garo's more of like a Japanese drama with like tokusatsu effects and stuff like that. Like, it's definitely not what you're probably expecting. It's much more closer to like a horror movie feeling, which I know you love horror.
And like I said, that's the intriguing thing for me is the fact that, as I mentioned before, I obviously grew up with the original Power Rangers and a couple of the offshoot series.
Me too.
But it's been years since I've watched those in their entirety. So actually getting to see the stuff from which the action sequence footage was culled, I'm genuinely stoked about that.
Well, Garo's never actually been adapted, but somebody was trying.
But to even see just that style, that genre, and kind of get my impression of how the sausage is made. Yes.
It's interesting when you watch like right now, the current Power Ranger series, which is actually really good. I will vouch for it. It's pretty much like the first season that a lot of people, it's the Sentai Gokaiger is probably the first season for almost everybody, because it was a really fun series where they got to transform into all the other 34 teams. And now they're seeing the source footage of Gokaiger being played out in America. So a lot of people are getting to see for the first time how this works. You know, it's especially fun after you've watched it enough and you're like, oh, I remember that scene. It is plenty of fun. But yeah, we have rambled on enough, so let's go ahead and get into plugs, because we're running low on. We got 16 minutes left.
Oh boy. Okay, I'll try to keep my plugs as brief as I can. Only got 2 of them really. The first one is 7 days from now, right back here on Blog Talk Radio on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. It is a brand new Long Road to Ruin. Myself and Robert Winfrey are back, and we're going to close out the Saw franchise with the 4 movies that really stretched this beloved franchise out far, far further than it should have been. Robert and I are going to have a lot to talk about. I've actually got to give the last 4 a good rewatch to kind of get all my thoughts in order. But that's always a good time. Join us at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on this very same channel. And in addition, I want to take the time out for a second to plug a friend's project, actually. For those of you who listen to Long Road to Ruin frequently, you know that I count among my friends the lovely, wonderful, and talented Allison Pregler, Obscurus Lupa from That Guy with the Glasses. She has launched a Patreon account. It's spelled Patreon, and for those of you who aren't familiar, it's kind of like Kickstarter, except there's no finite deadline to it. I've thrown a link up to her page over on the Long Road to Ruin Facebook, and it comes with some pretty good incentives. If you pledge $5 per video to help support her in her original web series, Obscurus Lupa Presents, and also Manic Episodes, you get to see the episodes the day before they're officially released, and they have no mid-roll ads. Pledge $10 or more per video, and you get your name and whatever show, website, Twitter account, whatever that you want promoted listed in the show's credits at the end. And if you pledge $20 or more per video, you may send Allison a clip promoting your own show or website or project or whatever, and she will include it in a future Obscurus Lupa Presents video. You can pledge monthly, or you can just pledge individually per video, whatever you decide to do. So go check out the Long Road to Ruin Facebook page, click on the link, and go help out an outstandingly talented web show producer, extremely funny, very insightful, loves low B or less grade horror, sci-fi, and action movies. But, you know, sometimes we all need a little help keeping us in Cynthia Rothrock DVDs.
That sounds good. Though I'm broke, so I couldn't do much for it. But hey, I can watch your videos. That'll get a few bucks, I'm sure.
Yes, do that. And by all means, as I always say, don't be a dick. Turn off ad block.
Oh, I do. I make sure I turn off ad block for like YouTube and blip stuff because I'm like, I like these people. I want to make money. Yeah. So is that anything else before I get on to my $18,000 plug?
No, by comparison, this is mostly a day job oriented week, so that's it for my plugs.
Oh, all right. So for me, there's pretty much the Radulich Broadcasting Network, the home for every fucking podcast you'd ever want to listen to, unless it's something else I'm on that's not here, and then it's not the home of it, but I have hyperbole. You can go away. So first off, in 2 weeks, I don't know what we're going to be doing here. I'm thinking maybe a Mayhem retrospective if I can call up some of my black metal people, because I think 2 weeks after that I might review the new Mayhem, because I have plans. Like I'm going to get Robert Winfrey here, and I might bring Teasley since he's been begging to be on here for to review the new Sabaton album, which is going to be awesome. And then I think maybe if Pat has time, I could be like, hey, you want to do that Armored Saint retrospective? So I got plenty of options for things to do before Radulich comes back and we start reviewing comedy and Scrooge the Duck. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, Scrooge the Duck, it's a thing. And I'm like, okay.
Limp Bizkit retrospective, bitches.
I think we joked about that during Body Count. For the love of God, if that happens, I might have to go hang myself. God.
Tell you what, that unfortunately that is an era of music that I am all too familiar with.
Oh,
so
me too.
if you need a hand with that one, when you're asking me to pick songs, I may very well do the opposite. And it's just like, I'm going to pick the dumbest possible songs from this album so we have things to make fun of.
Every song, Nookie. We'll go out with their
because, as I was joking with somebody the other day, it's weird because their first album actually isn't entirely horrible. It has its moments when it's actually kind of fun. It's just that everyone after it just kept getting worse.
Until we got their last album, Gold Cobra, which sold so badly that it got dropped from their label.
I don't know. Even though it sold so badly it got dropped, I wouldn't know because I didn't listen to it because I like my brain in a solid state. But could it really have been worse than the most unfortunately named album ever?
The Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water?
Chocolate Star. All I have to do is just refer to it by that distinction, and everybody knows which one I'm talking about.
True story. I was like 9, and one of the kids at my daycare was listening to it, and he was like, "Yeah, I heard he named it. Fred Durst named it this because his favorite food is like chocolate and hot dogs." I'm like, "Okay."
What the fuck?
I didn't fucking we didn't know. We were like 9, 10 years old. What the fuck would
don't lie to your children.
The kid might have made it up for all I know, but that's lols. Because now that I know...
That sounds... No. Bullshit. That sounds more like somebody didn't want to admit to that kid what that name really meant.
Yeah. Oh, it's so bad. Because now I know, I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. That poor kid. Going around...
And yet, when it came time for Undertaker to get new entrance music...
Yes, keep rolling.
And I still don't know if that was better or worse than American Badass.
Well, hey, it can't be as bad as that one time Disturbed did Steve Austin's theme.
Oh, God, why must you bring that up?
So what was worse, me bringing that up or Catwoman?
Actually, you know what? I can think of something worse than Disturbed remixing Steve Austin's theme.
True story, on his DVD that came out in like 2009, that was the music. That was the music for the menu on disc 3.
Oh, I remember that. I still have that DVD because it's a damn good DVD set.
That it is.
But actually, the one I'm thinking of that's actually worse than that. Do you remember when Motorhead played Triple H's music live at WrestleMania 17?
Yes.
Oh God, Lemmy was like trying to call audibles mid song and trying to change up his delivery, and oh God in heaven, no.
Speaking of Lemmy and Motorhead, when they came out to the Evolution theme last night, I marked out.
Am I the only one who is just not T-Pants excited about this?
I mean, I'm not excited about it, but I'm excited to hear the Evolution theme again.
Yeah, I mean, they had good theme music, but I guess I'm just thinking about the fact that, for one thing, everybody hated Evolution when they were a thing the first time.
Well, yeah,
it's not like Heel Heat.
It was X-Pac Heat.
Yeah, it was very genuine go away Heat. But what's even more, it's like I read some column on 411, and while it was intelligently written, in terms of how it was delivered, I disagree with it entirely because, my God, it fillets Dave, Randy, and Hunter all at once. You don't think you're overstating the value of this group just a little bit? I mean, this is arguably the iconic stable of the period when people hated the product the most.
Yeah. You know, wrestling is 7 years and it's fresh.
You know what? I will admit that it achieved its objective of managing to get Batista and Randy hella over.
Yeah.
But my God, we need to stop with the Four Horsemen comparisons. Please.
Yeah.
I'm begging you. I get whence the parallels come. Really, I understand. But please, stop. It was easy for them to dominate when that was, well, what that period was, when we basically got about a year and a half of Hunter and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. Yeah, but oh well. I mean, hey, that 7 years rule's coming around, and Big Vito's dress gimmick's coming up.
After 7 years, though, a turd is still a turd.
But it's a fresh turd. But anyways, yeah, we're running low on time. Got 4 minutes, so I got to finish playing. All right, and Thursdays, well, not this Thursday. We're going to be switching to bi-weekly because we're mainly an NFL podcast, and yeah, I have so many podcasts anyways. I want to be able to record a few of them otherwise. From the Cheap Seats with myself, Jason Teasley, and Jesse Starcher. Yeah, that's usually, that's now going to be every other Thursday. So next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. Check it out. It's pretty good. It's also the Sentai Rider podcast, which is great. I need to record more of it. There's just so much for us to record. We'll be coming on Friday with our review of episodes 16 through 19 of 16 through 18. Damn, I do it every time. Of Kamen Rider Gaim. Yeah, we're only like 5 episodes behind, where we're at now, but we can catch up in a few episodes. But yeah, it's pretty good. The show is great. I remember I sent you an episode of it to watch. You should still watch it. Such a great show. It's written by the Euro Butcher, so if you're an anime fan, Fate's Day Night, Fate Zero, Madoka Magica, he wrote those. Everybody Dies. Yeah, he's a prolific writer. Yeah, he's awesome. There's also the Cooperative Multiplayer Podcast, which is now Sundays at midnight. Oh, God, I hate Sundays at midnight. But it is so myself and Sean Garmer can be joined by Daniel Anderson as we talk video games on which page is it? No, not the TWNE page. The Wrestling to the Max page on Spreaker.com. We're live Sundays at midnight. Pretty great. Give us a listen. We're fun. I promise. If you ever want to hear me ramble about nothing, it's a great time. And then my column on 411mania.com, the Hammer of Doom News Report. It'll be back in May. I have been very busy. I have 4 podcasts, a 15-hour schedule with school, and a lot of other things to do with my life. So yeah, metal news, finding seven hours a week of time to write and, go through news and stuff has just been a little much. So thank you for dropping by, Sean. It was awesome. Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me on the show, Robert. It was a pleasure to be here. I was glad to fill Mark's enormous shoes. So. Yeah.
Well, there we go. See, somebody's got to do it. And I will totally make you a heavy metal care package sometime. And with all that being said, I'll see you all in 2 weeks. And to steal my co-host's catchphrase a little, be well, be safe, and behave. And remember, keep the metal faith alive.